Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Skip.
Big smiles.
Bring on
Shannon.
the Lakers and the Nets. How about it?
It's over.
Let's just get this out of the way. Let's just go Lakers-Nets. I'm ready.
Hold on. You done skipped over Portland. You done skipped over Utah, possibly Memphis. You done skipped over all them.
Unfortunately, I skipped over the Clippers.
We're going to talk about them in a minute. We're going to talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, we are going to talk about them in a minute. Let's talk about what we saw last night, or what we didn't see from the Suns. They could only score 95 points against the Lakers last night, allowing, yes, LA to take a 2-1 series lead. Jay Crowder, who lost to the Lakers in the finals last year when he played for the Heat, caught Lakers fans' attention this week when he liked a tweet suggesting that Anthony Davis's championship ring is fake. And things got chippy in the fourth quarter when Crowder challenged LeBron to a one-on-one and then was later ejected. Oh, that moment. Shannon, do you believe LeBron had a little something extra for Crowder last night?
No, LeBron doesn't get up too high for very many guys, Skip. It's kind of like, look, I'm not going to put on my Sunday best. I'm not going to be on my best behavior to be my girl's best friend. Now, for her parents, you best believe. Hey, Skip, coming like this here, Skip. Come on, ma'am. How are you doing? It's so nice to meet you. I've heard so many things about you.
Well, that's never worked for you before, has it?
No. Skip, you know LeBron. LeBron doesn't really get too high. He stays out of moments like this. Obviously, he knows what Kevin Durant or Giannis or some of these other guys represent. But Jay Crowder, Skip, Jay Crowder's had a very difficult time beating LeBron come playoff times. He's what, 3-15, 3-18, something like that. He's lost twice to him in Boston.
4-14.
Oh, 4-14.
Close enough.
So he's lost twice to him when he was in Boston. He lost to him last year in Miami.
Yeah.
Now remember, Jay Crowder was a teammate that got traded in 2018 at the deadline.
Played how many games? Like 53 games with him.
So maybe he holds Bron culpable. Like, well, at least I would have went to a championship had I stayed on that team. And he's like, well, LeBron didn't want me there. So maybe he holds something like that against him. But I don't believe LeBron looks at it like, oh, Scenic? Man, they got Jay Crowder. I better be on my best behavior. I don't think that's how LeBron approaches the game. I just think, Skip, we saw AD block Devin Booker's shot late in the second half. And he came down awkwardly.
Late in the first half.
Late first half, excuse me. And he came down awkwardly on his knee. And I'm like, that didn't look good. Because, you know, he's hobbling back up the court. He limps off, and then you see him come back out, and he got his knee wrapped. And so I'm thinking, LeBron is thinking, man, I don't know how much longer I'm going to have AD. AD seems hurt. He went to attack. Skip, he ain't settled for no jumper. He's like, I'm going to the rim. I'm getting to the rack. Mikal Bridges, ain't nothing you can do. I'm getting to the rack, Jay Crowder, there's nothing you can do. And he got to the rack, and all of a sudden it seemed to reinvigorate AD because he became even more aggressive than he was in the first half in the third quarter. Because I think he had like 18 points in the third quarter. So I don't think LeBron got up for Jay Crowder. I do believe LeBron understood the magnitude of this moment. Make sure we maintain that we took home court from them. Let's not let them seize that back. AD could possibly be hurting. I don't want to be in a situation where we're down 1-2 going into Sunday and don't know how healthy I'm going to have AD. So I love what I saw from LeBron, the aggressiveness in the third quarter. Because, Skip, if you think about it, the first half, he didn't drive the ball not one time. I don't think he got within, a couple of feet of the basket. Other than that, shot a three. The first shot, that three was pure two. Looked good, didn't it, Skip? That is not your turn. It's not your turn.
1 of 5.
It's not your turn.
1 of 5?
It's not your turn.
That was pure garbage.
That first one looked good. But no, Skip, I do not believe he got up for Jay Crowder. He just understood the moment of the ball game, and he took advantage of it.
I cannot tell you how much I disagree with your takeaway from this madness that ensued last night at Staples.
You believe LeBron James gets up for Jay Crowder?
I think the whole team got up for Jay Crowder because I'm going to drive this point home. All you have to do is one little finger swipe, one little keystroke on your keyboard, on your little phone or computer, wherever you are. All you have to do is hit the heart button. And you have just shot yourself right in your own heart. Because what he liked was suggesting what I screamed at you all through the finals and after the finals. That ring that you guys won last year was made of, what did I say? cubic zirconia.
Yeah.
I even had one. I had a ring. I don't know what happened to it. Somebody stole it. It was pretty valuable. Yeah, somebody stole it from my dressing room because it looked real, but it was cubic zirconia. And the point was, nobody knows better than Jay Crowder that when Miami finally got to the Lakers in the finals as a 5th seed, they had lost Goran Dragic, their leading playoff scorer, and in the midst of game 1, they lost their heart and soul. Bam! Kabam, he was gone. Shoulder injury, I don't know. He's never the same the rest of the way. He tried to come back and play. Dragic tried to come back to play, and it was even more embarrassing than Chris Paul was last night. So the point is that when you do that, now you have questioned the Lakers' manhood, their authenticity from a year ago. It's the single stupidest thing you could do going into a game 3 when you are tied 1-1 in their house. You cannot hit the you cannot hit the heart.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Do you believe Jay Crowder would have said his ring wasn't real if they had beaten the Lakers?
No, well, obviously not. And the irony of this is you're kind of discounting your own team. You're undercutting because you were on that team that they beat, right? Okay, so, but the point is you're up against it already. Listen, Chris Paul, I try to, you know, I try to go with this. I try to say, oh, he's okay. And he made a couple of shots in the first half that were reasonably impressive. Right. He's a sad shell of himself. He can't do anything. He barely played in the second half because he just can't go.
Skip, why not rest him and give him 72 hours to try to recover? Because what good is that, Skip? What good is it playing the first half?
I don't know. You were correct about that. Just sit him down.
Right.
And yeah,
get him as healthy as
let's put this back in because you know and I know what a stinger is. You've experienced one. Okay. This was not just a stinger because you know and I know it comes and it comes hot and hard and then it goes.
They don't normally linger like that.
They do not linger. Something went really wrong. He's got some cervical issue in his disc. I don't know if he needs a surgery to correct it, but he's getting the shooting pain consistently down his arm to the point he is injured. He wasn't just hurt. A stinger is you get hurt, but this is injury, right? So you can fight through the stinger. It's not pleasant, as you well know, but you can shake it off after a while and go forward. He can't go forward. Look at what he's doing so far. He's averaging 6.7 points a game in 3 games and 6.3 assists in 3 games. For the year, he averaged 16 and 9. He was in the MVP conversation, am I right?
Yes.
What was that team without him a year ago? Well, they won their last 8 games in the bubble.
They still missed the playoffs.
They missed the playoffs because going into the bubble, they were 26 and 39. That's no Chris Paul. That team you saw last night was your basic 26 and 39 Phoenix Suns. Because he is their heart and soul. He is their driving force. He can't do anything. Look
and he had the worst plus minus of anybody that touched the court last night.
Thank you very much. And in the second half, he scored 0. So it's like he got shut down in the second half. He's mostly wearing his warm-ups,
He can't shoot outside of 6, 7 feet.
He can't shoot. He's 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He led the NBA in free throw shooting at 93%.
He did.
He can't even do that. So it's pathetic to watch. It's disqualified. It's over. It's a joke. It's a cakewalk. And yet, you know, the other guy I try to love on the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker. I keep trying to crown him. I want him to be a superstar. He's clearly a star. But he can't shoot threes. He's deadly from mid-range. But if you step him back 1 or 2 more steps from the mid-range, he's 34%. So far in these 3 games, he's 4 of 14 from 3. And if you look at what he did last night, it wasn't.
He's not efficient either.
No, he's 6 of 19 last night and 1 of 4 from 3.
He was 7 of 17 the other night.
He was, and it's not good enough. He could torment you the way Steph tormented you in the play-in game. He could make you sweat. Devin's not making anybody sweat, right? The book on book is after 20 feet, he can't shoot. So they're daring him to shoot after 20 feet. And they double him sometimes, but they weren't just all over him last night.
He's trying to get to his mid-range, or he's trying to get into the basket, draw fouls.
Okay, so my point is, he's not hot. Chris Paul is just not. And what would possess Jay Crowder to do that? Because once you go kaboom on that little heart, now you've sent a message You guys were frauds last year. Really? Okay. Now you're playing the first playoff game in what's it been, 8 years at Staples? Well, you can't tell me they didn't know that, because look at the USA Today story. They did not make an issue of this on television, and I couldn't hear it, but the USA Today story from Mark Medina, who was, I assume, at the game, shortly after the game started, Laker fans started chanting insults at Crowder. Thankfully, the fan behavior did not mimic what happened in Philadelphia and at the Knicks games, and he didn't mention Utah, but the point was, he says, it was relatively civil. Well, that means it was pretty below the belt in what they were chanting at Jay Crowder, but he asked for it, and he got it.
But, Skip, this is why I'm saying LeBron. Now, if you tell me AD took it personal,
he might have.
I got no problem, because not only did you question the veracity of his championship, you got to guard him. Skip, that's who got to guard him, because they start the game. Mikal Bridges starts on LeBron.
He does.
Ayton starts on Drum. And Jay Crowder got AD. Now, the guy that you got to guard, that's 6'10", that's an all-NBA player. He's regarded as one of the top players in all the NBA.
He is.
You just basically said, man, that championship you got is fraudulent. You a fraud, and you got a fraudulent championship.
It was actually aimed at AD. I just thought LeBron would take it just as personally.
No, AD did.
Okay, but you cannot tell me LeBron didn't have a ball last night in the second half, taunting and clowning and embarrassing Jay Crowder. Because remember what happened with 7.5 minutes left?
Up and under.
Yeah, can we see that, please? Okay, look at your man Big Penguin on the bench during this play.
Hey, because Big Penguin knows. He done been around LeBron so long. He know what's coming.
Here he goes. I'm going to lean on you. 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 Here we go.
Look at Drum.
I'm going to lean. I'm going to lean. Drum's mimicking the lean. Drum's leaning. He's leaning, and LeBron finally spins on him and goes up and under. LeBron had to kind of really oomph it to get up and under a little bit. It took a little bit more effort than he used to require to go up and under. He might have reverse slammed it back in the day, right?
Yeah, he definitely would.
Okay.
And then Skip, when people, I don't know if they saw it, he did this to Jay. Like, that was a nasty move on you.
Nasty.
And that's when Jay shoved him down.
Okay, and it started to get really chippy, and it degenerates all the way down to Booker is so frustrated that, if we can see at the end, Schroeder goes up and is in midair, and this is just flat out dangerous. AD just scalded him after the game, and he just shoves him down, and Crowder got a little piece of him on the way down.
Yeah, he pushed him. Crowder pushed him also.
He got him from the back.
I thought they were going to call a tech on him, too.
Yeah, it's a double push. Well, they got even with Crowder soon after this. Yep, there you go. And AD was all over Booker for that, saying it's just too dangerous because you're in midair.
Well, Skip, I think the thing is what Booker is suffering from is that light skin disease. Is that a lot of times those guys they say they're soft, and so he's trying to say I'm not soft.
Okay, I got it.
And so you
watch this.
Yeah, so okay. I'm going to show, because remember he's been going all year at Paul George. That's the guy that every time they play, he keeps saying call Paul all kind of names, saying this and that.
He has.
But for me, Skip, you're right. The frustration, you see it start to boil over.
It just boiled over, and that was a flagrant two.
Even though that was his sixth foul, he was already
he's
out.
Going to be gone.
But they say, nah, you can't even go sit on the sideline. And then Jay Crowder kept saying something. I think he called talking. He called Schroeder something.
He called
and they said, you know what?
Yeah.
You get out of here. I think that was Sean Wright that threw him out.
And it was a wise move because the game is over, and it's not going to get any better.
Right.
So you might as well just send him to the showers. Just get him out of harm's way, or something worse is going to happen.
Skip, this game was supposed to be about 30. If the Lakers could shoot a lick.
They shot from 3, 7 of 28. What is that, 25%?
Skip, they were 4-17 on wide open threes. That means 6 feet or more.
Boy, your researcher, Steve, he's getting after it, isn't he? And the Suns were 7 of 10. Skip, this is what I believe Monty Williams should have done. Chris, we're going to sit you out this game. We may or may not win, but we want to give you as much time to recover, so we're going to go all in on Sunday. Cameron Payne is playing really played well.
Skip, he's really without him, they'd have got blown out, because he came in, he had to hit like 3 threes right away, got to the basket. He played phenomenal. He is the only guy that was on their team that didn't have a negative plus-minus. Let him play, DeAndre Ayton.
The problem is he's Cameron Payne.
Right.
That's the problem.
But let me
he's not Chris Paul III.
Let me ask you a question. In the past 2 games, who's been the better player on the court? Cameron Payne or Chris Paul?
Well, it's not even close.
Exactly. That's why you let Payne play.
Well, they should have let him play the whole game last night. They would have had a better chance.
Because you don't get anything by starting Chris Paul and only playing him 2 minutes in the second half. What do you get out of that? Unless you got a 30-point lead. Do you believe you can build a 30-point lead on the Lakers at the half? I don't.
And this brings me to DeAndre Ayton. Do you realize, if you look at your little stat sheet there, the points in the paint, do you see what the Lakers scored? 58 points in the paint to 38 for Phoenix. 58 to 38. Do you see the rebounds?
They got crushed.
51 to 35. 51 to 35. Let's go back to points in the paint. I think the NBA made a rule this year that DeAndre Ayton can only play offense. It's like when I was growing up in Oklahoma, they had this stupid rule for girls basketball where it was 3 and 3, where the girls couldn't cross. Three had to play defense. Well, it's like Ayton's got the girls' rules where he can't play defense. I don't know if he even showed up. He would completely disappear on defense in the lane. They had nobody protecting the rim the whole night.
But the thing is, Skip, is that if you take Ayton away, they're not a big team. The Lakers have decided to say, you know what? Our advantage is our size. We got AD. We got Drum. We got Gasol. Skip, in 20 minutes, Drum had 11 rebounds. In 23 minutes, Kuzma had 10 rebounds. AD had 11 rebounds. LeBron had 6 rebounds. So they're a smallish team that they trot out there. And if Ayton never goes out of the ball game, you're really in trouble because now you're trying to go Kamansky, Saric against Drum and AD or Gasol. That's not going to work. I still didn't like his substitution pattern because I thought Drum should have played a little bit more last night, Skip. But the advantage that you've had all year long is that you were a big team. Play big. You're not a three-point shooting. The percentages say you're not a three-point shooting team, Lakers. Now, I don't know what y'all think you are, but I know points in the paint.
Okay.
Says that you're a better inside team than outside team.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to start calling him DeAndre Ayton, as in ain't play no defense, because he ain't play none. He played none. I don't get it. And speaking of your guy, Big Penguin, the best defensive play of the night was made by, I guess you'd call him the backup center, Big Frank the Tank Kaminsky. How about him? Could we see what he did to Drum first half? Here we go, Big Drum, this Big Penguin. What? You got blocked once? He just stuffed him right at the rim. What was that about?
Oh, look at it. Huh? But you ain't say nothing when he spin on Ayton and dunked on him.
And then I think Crowder gets him the second time.
And what about when he hit that move on DeAndre Ayton, spin baseline and hammered it home on him?
I didn't notice that.
You did notice that.
He just got stuffed by Frank the Tank in the middle. Frank Kaminsky?
That's okay. Skip.
Weren't you embarrassed by that?
No. Look, we know Andre Drummond is not no elevator. He don't have Zion Williams up. But I tell you what he can do. You see those offensive rebounds? How many offensive rebounds did he have last night, Skip? You see what he's doing every night. It's 5, it's 4, it's 6 offensive rebounds, which gives us more. And you see, that's why you criticizing Ayton. Because the Drum is eating on the glass, just eating.
I think I could get a rebound against Ayton. Ain't no Ayton.
That man's 7 foot tall, 270.
Well, he used to be. I thought he was. I don't know. Maybe he shrank. I don't know.
Okay, he shrank now.
Shannon, it is over. I told you yesterday going into Game 3, it was 1-1 and it was over. And I think you now agree it's going to be over very quickly for what's left of the Phoenix setting Suns.
It didn't matter. Right? Phoenix Sun, Capri Sun, Mohegan Sun. The sun about to set.
They're about to be at Mohegan Sun on vacation.
Yep. Let me look good that third quarter, Skip. You see O'Brien?
Against what?
O'Brien came that thing.
The 26 and 39 Suns.
No. Skip, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you say what they were in 2019, 2020.
Well, minus Chris Paul.
They were the number 2 seed this year. That's what they were. So we're going to judge them accordingly
with
to their
the
record.
MVP candidate, Chris Paul.
Well, hold on. Now, when LeBron James was hobbling, you told me, the Hall of Famer that sit across from me tell me if you're on the court, you're healthy. Okay, then Chris Paul is healthy.
Okay, final point. There was the scare that you mentioned. 2:36 left in the first half. AD chased down block on Booker. And they tangle and tumble, and I don't know what happened. I think he hyperextended his knee.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like.
And he hobbles after this.
Oh, you see how
he did. He stabbed it in the floor. So it hyperextended. And yet, as much as he hobbled, he plays the rest of the night. And I'm thinking, the Lakers can be the fakers, and they can really, they're the floppers, right? No. Was he just like laying it on thick like LeBron does?
You saw that. But here's the thing. The difference between AD in L.A. and L.A. and AD in New Orleans. AD's out of that ball game.
He would have been. I agree. No, he sucked it up. He did score 0 in the fourth quarter after playing 9 minutes, and that concerned me a little bit. Because they didn't need him.
We don't need him. We didn't need him.
He had done all the damage he needed to do.
All the damage he needed to do,
I agree.
he had done.
Yep.
James did some damage.
Well, as long as AD is 98% healthy going forward.
Well, he made 4 free throws, Skip.
Yeah,
he was 4-4 from the free throw line.
Right, but he didn't score a field goal.
No.
Yeah.
And we 13 or 14 and well, we were terrible from the field. 8 or 20, 4 or 10.
Doesn't matter. It's over, Shannon.
Whoa. Yield such little faith.
You feel okay about
How about
that?
we talk about the Clippers?
Oh, do you?
Oh, you want to talk about the
Yes,
Clippers?
I want to talk
You
about
sure
what's
about
left
that?
of the Clippers. Please.
Oh, what's left of them?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
No mercy.
Well, the Mavericks are taking their 2-0 series lead over the Clippers back to Dallas for 2 games this weekend. The Mavs followed up the 17 threes they made in Game 1 by making 18 Game 2. But Ty Lue says the Clippers will show who they truly are with their backs against the wall, adding, quote, "I think when you're down 2-0 and you're coming into another team's arena, it shows what you're made of." So, Shannon, where will this series stand when we return on Monday?
Skip, I'm going to go and set a bit 3-1. I believe, I believe the Mavericks will win tonight. The Clippers will win on Sunday. I guess they play Sunday. And be 3-1 when they go back. The Clippers get back in Staples Center.
Games are both night. They're 8:30 Dallas time.
Okay. So I do believe that it'll still be 3-1, Skip. Here's the problem that the Clippers are having. No matter who takes the Luka Doncic test, they fail. Kawhi's tried it, he got an F. Paul George has tried it, he's gotten an F. Pat Bev, they just went ahead and put him out of school. His grade was so bad against Luka, they just kicked him out of school. Marcus Morris, if he can't step on his already injured ankle, he's failed. So what do we do, Skip? They've tried to turn him into, okay, we're just going to let you score. Go one-on-one. And that's like, now we can't do that because you're getting to the basket too easy. You're making it too easy. Now we come with the double. Now not only can he score, you're turning him into a playmaker also. So I really want to make him turn him into a playmaker, Skip, and hope that Tim Hardaway Jr., hope that Finney Smith, hope that these guys can't continue to make the shots. So that way I'm going to get Luka to start pressing and to go and get out of his comfort zone. But as long as he can get what he wants, and then when you bring the double team, those guys knock down those threes, you don't have an answer for that because you would like to be able to, Skip, to be able to stay home. And like, nah, hey, Kawhi, you take him. PG, you take him. Pat Bev is just too small to take him. But would like to have one of those guys just be able to take him. Skip, I don't really know what else they can do. Kawhi had a career night. Paul George didn't play bad. He didn't shoot the three well, but he was very efficient. He was 11 of 22. So you get 69 points from your big guns.
41 and 28.
And you still lose.
Yep.
So now where do we go? Where are we going to get some more points from? I mean, you expected Luke Kennard, who has 2 DMPs, that you're playing $16 million. Marcus Morris Sr. has lost his stroke. He was shooting the ball well in the regular season. But for whatever reason, in the stretch of the season, last 3 or 4 games, and come in the playoffs, he hadn't been able to find his stroke. So I don't really know where they turn, Skip. So I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to say it's 3-1 when we come in here on Monday, and I'll be celebrating.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
You're going to have a great weekend.
Wow, have a great weekend.
And on Sunday night, you can make plans for all the props you want. If you want to come out here and burn a Clippers jersey on Monday, we will be here on Memorial Day. I mean, Memorial Day.
I need Kappa. Get close up on Skip. Say that one more time about the prop. I want you to say that what you just said again.
I'm going to say a lot.
No, you told me I can have as many props
as you want because I will deserve your wrath and ridicule on Monday.
Okay.
This is fixing to be over. Dallas is going to...
the Clippers.
Yeah, can I
am
bring props?
so done with the Clippers. I was so wrong about the Clippers. I picked them to win the NBA championship.
You did
Not
that.
Just the West, the championship.
You did that.
I did it before the year. I did it before the playoffs started. And I was dead solid wrong.
That's mighty big of you, Skip, to admit that.
This Clippers team, right on schedule, has degenerated into last year's Clippers team. And I don't understand it. I can't fathom it. I can't explain it because throughout the year, they were good to great for most of the year. I know they struggled with their clutch finishes, but that's why they got Rondo at the trade deadline. And I thought it was the sweetest Jerry West memorial move I'd seen in a long, long time, because they acquired the playmaker who was your unsung hero in the bubble last year. I'm talking about playoff Rondo. Right. Key play after key shot after key pass did he make for your Lakers. And I thought, thank you, basketball gods. Now we, the Clippers, have playoff Rondo to quarterback us, to put us in the right place at the right time with the right mindset to close deals in big playoff games.
But, Skip, you've said on numerous occasions, Kawhi is not a closer. Paul George isn't a closer. So even though you got a guy that can quarterback, what good is a quarterback if his receivers can't catch?
Okay, I got it. But they are so talented and they are so deep. They're too deep for their own good, because you mentioned Kennard. He's a 40% three-point shooter. Obviously, as a team, they led the league in three-point shooting, and now they're choking their brains out. They led the league in free throw shooting, and now, starting with Marcus Morris Sr., they are choking their guts out. On national TV against the Dallas Mavericks, who very quietly got hot at the end of the year.
Okay.
I don't know if they tanked or not. I don't think they tanked. I think they rested their two fragile superstars, and they were rested and ready for the playoffs. They might have been a little rusty for game one, but the shell shock of coming apart down the stretch in game one carried right over as a hangover into game two, and they were even worse down the stretch in game two. And the offense, let me finish. The offense has degenerated into your turn or my turn. Listen, the Lakers, they do two great things. They hang their hat on the defensive end. They take pride in it. They play with urgency and physicality on defense. Every game. I give it up to you for that, because they care. You can just see. And I think it comes from Vogel, who emphasizes defense.
Yeah, he's a defensive coach.
The other thing they do, probably fueled by LeBron, who's still the best passer in basketball, is, you want to talk about beautiful ball movement? You want to talk about sharing the ball? They take my breath away, do the Lakers, on some possessions where the ball goes pass, 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 open three, bottom. And it's beautiful to watch, because I have to watch the Clippers play such ugly basketball, especially in close fourth quarter. Right. Because it's either your turn or my turn. Dribble, 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 dribble. Can I beat two defenders? They tripled Kawhi in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, he says, just get out of my way. I'm just going to take shots. Right. Well, a lot of shots you're going to take are going to be forced shots when you have open three-point shooters just begging for the basketball across the floor. Right. Okay, LeBron gives those balls up, and because KCP or who it can be Caruso, Kuzma, they'll make threes when you need a big three. They'll make one.
But see, here's the thing, though, Skip. See, when you say now, you praise Bron for giving the ball up to wide open shooters.
Okay, this is in the flow of the game. Right. Just in the flow. I'm not talking about in the last 2 minutes. I'm talking about as the game starts to open up and flow, it all flows from LeBron. Right. They have ball movement that is hard to guard.
But see, Skip, this is why LeBron is so much more invaluable than a lot of people, because in clutch time, it's not always about you. It's about others and making the right play. So what has been your problem starting last year, Skip? All in the playoffs, this year in the regular season, and again now. Clutch time. When in 5 minutes and the game was within 5, what do you guys normally do? Fold.
Well, it's like, is it me or is it you? Do you want to try this or do you want me to try it? And it ends up with George Paul with the ball in his hand saying, do you think I should shoot this?
Yeah, front runner.
Yeah, way to go.
What you criticized LeBron for, don't think I didn't see your little nasty tweet last night, too. Talking about the biggest front runner, CP3 is out.
I told you that. I said it on the show yesterday. He is the biggest front runner. I told you it's a positive, it's a compliment. Because when he smells a little blood, there's no... Chris Paul was in warm-ups cheering him on, trying to coach him from the sidelines like he was an assistant head coach. And LeBron smells that and sees that. He will run you into the floor. I told you that on the show yesterday. That's a strength. I give you that.
But, okay, LeBron might be a front runner.
How do you see my tweets so much?
Don't worry about it. But hold on. What are the Clippers? Because it seems to me they're bigger front runners than LeBron.
Okay, there are two kinds of front running. There's front running folders, and there are front runners who just pile it on, they stat pad, and they beat the you-know-what out of you.
That's the Clippers.
Okay?
See, we can execute. You see how we did what we did against Golden State? We executed in the clutch. Even when they took a lead, we maintained our composure. You guys can't do that.
Well, you execute in the clutch against Golden State because KCP got stuck with the ball in the lane and kicked it out to LeBron, and Steph's like, I guess I got to run at him. And he throws one up at 3 rims he's trying to see, and it chose the right rim. Made it. Way to go. Yeah, way to go. And he's now, what is he shooting in this series? He's like 32% from 3. He's not a very good three-point shooter, but that's okay. He's a great passer and a great driver of the basketball. And by the way, LeBron last night, he drove it 7 times and made 5 field goals on drives. In the first 2 games, he drove it twice.
Thank you.
Twice.
Thank you.
Okay.
And he made it clear. He's like, there's some things that I missed mentally.
Okay, so back to the Clippers. The odds makers keep validating my prediction. They're really good. They're really loaded. They are the odds makers champions because they routinely have point spreads that say they're the best team in basketball. They have another one tonight. It's been as high as 2.5 points. Clippers favored by 2. It's 2 right now, but 2.5. Well, Rick Carlisle's going to use that as new ammunition. His pregame speech will be, hey, you guys kick their golden tails. They're sorry, we want Dallas tails. In their building, and they've come into your house, and they're still favored by 2.5 points. That's what he'll tell them.
Skip, even though you say Chris Broussard and I, we led the bandwagon about their tank, what do you think Rick Carlisle, what do you think the Mavericks thought? Here's a team that has a chance that could possibly move up, get the number 2 seed. They could get the 3 or the 2 seed.
I got it. Whether they tanked or not, Dallas thought they tanked.
Thank you.
And that's all that matters.
Is reality.
Because it's reality, and they are fierce. I told you, they came out in game 1 with fire in their eyes. They have made 35 of 73-point shots, and they finished 18th in the regular season in 3-point shooting. That's ridiculous heat that they're generating, and they're a hot basketball team in general. So the Clippers are up against it, but I keep telling you about the point spreads. They're 6.5-point favorite in game 1, and they lost by 10. They're 6-point favorite in game 2 at home, and they lose by 6. Tonight, they're 2.5, and I think they're going to lose by 10 again tonight, and I think they're going to get swept, and I think you can come in and heap all the ridicule and abuse on me you want because I deserve it. But again, they are the odds makers champions. They are, seriously. Routinely last year in the bubble, they were favored by more over Denver than you were favored in the next round against Denver. Game after game after game, they would be 7 or 8-point favorites. You guys would be 5 or 6-point favorites. So the odds makers are saying the Clippers are better than the Lakers. And it did not matter because they don't play better than the Lakers. They haven't played better in 2 home games. And I think the shell shock is so crushing for their psyches that they can't recover fast enough. The games are coming too fast. It's tonight, it's Sunday night, and before you know it, they're going to be on a plane, going home, and it's going to be death and destruction within their franchise because that owner is used to winning in his field. He wins like very few humans, right? Okay, so some heads are going to quote-unquote roll. It's going to be turn it upside down, and they know what's coming. Do you really think the Clippers believe, as we speak, they can win 4 of the next 5? I don't.
Well, they better. That's the only chance, is Skip. Is that I just think the thing is that they need to be. Rick Carlisle is telling his bunch, guys, look, let's not overblow this thing. Just keep it close. As long as we're going to make them execute every possession, because every possession becomes magnified in a clutch situation, Skip. Because you might be down 1 or 2, or you might be up 1 or 2. So empty possessions, turnovers.
Okay, so you can't tell me that Ty Lue 2 days ago didn't try a desperation reach of gamesmanship when he suggested that the Mavericks at home would start to feel the pressure to make threes in ways they didn't feel on the road at Staples. Like, can you do this at home? Well, we'll see. Well, it's just desperation on his part. He's trying to plant seeds of doubt that will grow into demons in the back of their minds. We can't make a shot at home. We got them right. We got them on the run and on the ropes. We can't make a shot.
Well, let me ask you this. What if you put Kawhi? Would you be willing to sacrifice Kawhi? Kawhi gave you 41. Would you be willing to sacrifice, says, okay, Kawhi, can you hold Luka to, say, 25, and you give us 25 and then the other guys? Because I don't know if Kawhi can give you that kind of production and try to take Luka for the entirety of the game, Skip.
What did I tell you going into game 2? I would challenge Kawhi's manhood. he has been a defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
He has arthritic knees. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
But they're good enough for him to score 41 on. And if they're that good, then they're good enough for him to challenge Luka for 4 quarters.
He was young. Yeah. He was hungry.
No,
he didn't know he had this kind of offensive arsenal. Mm-hmm. Now he knows he has this kind of offensive weaponry.
I'll buy that.
He like, nah, I ain't finna sit in no chair.
Well, somebody better sit in a chair, or just don't guard Luka and put 5 on 4, and just if
and hope Luka miss,
and hope Tim Hardaway doesn't make 6 out of 8 threes, and hope that Porzingis doesn't make 3 out of 4. Hope that Max Kleber doesn't make 2 out of 2, because those are killers. That's what killed him.
That's what I was hoping in 2014. Skip, I said, ain't no way the Spurs gonna keep. Ain't no way Patty Mills can keep shooting like this. And Denny Green. And what happened, Skip? They kept shooting like that, and they blew your heat off the court by a record
final
exactly.
margin.
So your guy about to get blown off the court by a record margin.
It may be a record margin, at least a record 3-point shooting margin. And remember, during the season, the Clippers were 4th in points allowed. They weren't a bad defensive team. They were 6th in opponents' 3-point shooting percentage. Well, where did that go? They're dead last now. They're getting annihilated.
What did I tell you, Skip? The mark of anything, a team or a player that's being great, can you do? See, you tell me LeBron isn't a great 3-point shooter, but in the clutch, in the moments that you need him, what does he do, Skip?
He misses.
Hold on. Did he miss Tuesday night against the Suns? Did he miss against Golden State?
Well, Tuesday night was not clutch.
Yeah, it was clutch. That was a dagger.
A dagger put him up 9.
We planted our flag on the head.
Yeah. Okay, well, the Clippers just about to get planted in the ground in Dallas. That's what's going to happen.
We saw, we conquered.
Yep. Congratulations, Dallas Mavericks. Way to go, Luka. You are baby bird, at least for now.
So are you off the Clippers now? They're not winning the championship?
Well, I just told you that. I'm done. It's over. I'm done because they're done. Yeah.
Shannon,
it's your day. Monday is your day.
Get your props
ready
just
be the parade
for Monday.
master
If you need me to assist you with anything, I'll help you bring the props out. We'll have some
got
fun
a big old
with
prop studio. I'm about to go in there and see what I can
do. Some props.
Let's get in there. Let's bring the whole shebang out. Shannon, I'm here to help. I'll carry some stuff for you. Skip, sorry, Skip. We're moving on. Guys, after a Sixers fan and a Knicks fan were both banned for incidents on Wednesday, the Utah Jazz announced they had ejected and banned 3 fans for a verbal altercation during Game 2. Ja Morant responded to the news, tweeting, quote, "My family should be able to cheer for me and my teammates without getting inappropriate bleeps said to them." It was later revealed that one of the fans made racist remarks to Ja's dad and another made a sexually explicit remark to his mom. What are we doing here? This is horrible. Shannon, what is your reaction?
Skip, this is a great job by the Jazz. Yeah. Skip, there's really nothing you can do. There's really, I mean, look, you get wind of this, you take action, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, you open it like, hey, come have a good time. And there's going to be some that ruin the entertainment for a lot of other people, and then everybody gets lumped in. But I was glad the Jazz took the course of action that they took. And I would like to see Skip it go even further. You know what? Since y'all want to act like a jackass in Utah, you can't go nowhere to any game, no NBA game. Skip, if I can get my license suspended in Georgia, I can't come to California and get a license. You know what I'm saying? So if you go to Utah, you acting a fool and getting thrown out of a game, you shouldn't be able to go to the Madison Square Garden, a Staples Center, because your behavior warrants that kind of treatment. Man, what? Y'all gonna talk to this man? Y'all gonna talk to the man's wife? Y'all gonna talk to somebody's mom like that? But Skip, you know where this started from? This started when they first integrated, and Jackie Robinson had to go through it. A lot of the black players had to go through it, where they would say anything. And they just kept it going. And I know it's not the 60s, but guess what? You still keep some of that same behavior going in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and here we are in 2021. And you're still doing this bull job. Why? You can heckle. You can boo. I think his name is T. Morant. I think that's his dad's name. T, your son terrible. Your son he ain't even a top 10 point guard. What, Donovan Mitchell better than he is. Okay. You want to do all that heckling and trash talking? Go back.
That's the point he made. There's good heckling, and he said a lot of them were good-natured. He said, I felt a lot of love from a lot of the Jazz fans, but there were 3 that they felt some hate from.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, people. Well, no, you know what? I've been done saying we better than that, because no, we're not. Because that's not what I'm starting to see, that we're better than that. We just hope.
Yeah.
We're better than that, Skip. But like I said, Skip, I just don't really know what else a team can do. You say, okay, get more security. I mean, now, you know, it's almost like the viewing experience because you got security everywhere, and I'm trying to, the security right there, and I'm trying to watch the game, and I'm dodging like I'm at a tennis match, my head going back and forth because security is all right there.
I told you, you need to station a security person above the tunnel to protect during the game.
Right.
Well, that's going to get in somebody's way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, Skip, I'm glad they did it. I mean, some fans just, they don't view, the way they look at it, Skip, if you make millions and millions of dollars, I should be able to say and do whatever I want. And because you make millions, you should be accepting. I see people on my timeline, well, if somebody paid me that kind of money, you can dump popcorn on me. Because, see, Skip, here's the thing with disrespect. It starts out as maybe a little disrespect, something said, a little snide remark. And then it goes over and over and over because once someone finds out they can disrespect you, they won't just stop at that little slight. It's popcorn this time. Next time it's a beer. Next time it's something else. You see? So that's why you got to nip all disrespect in the bud. But I'm glad Utah, and I don't know, Skip, it's been happening a lot in Utah lately. You know, Russell had some incidents in Utah. And now
March of 2019.
Right. And this situation. So I just don't really know what else the NBA can do. I'm just glad the Jazz took quick and appropriate action. And hopefully fans like, you know what? This is getting out of hand. I don't want to be that person.
So, thank you for everything you just said. There were 3 separate incidents, 3 different comments made to Mr. and Mrs. Morant. And speaking of the Jackie Robinson era, the one racist comment was so bad, it was straight out of the Jackie Robinson era to me. And I don't want to read it because I can't even say it. You can call it up and read it yourself.
Right.
But it just turns my stomach that somebody in 2021 is capable in public of saying that to a black man and woman. Really? That was the one that got me. Another fan made a sexually explicit remark to the wife, and then a third fan told the wife, shut the F up, B. Okay? I can sort of get that, like, I can barely live with those. They got to be banned for them. I got it. But the racist one is so racist. And it reminded me, and I looked it back up, what was Russell's issue with a man and his wife back in 2019 at a midseason game, a March game, I guess it was. Russell said, a young man and his wife in the stands told me to get down on my knees, quote, like you used to. And they were banned. Good for the Jazz.
Right.
And the Jazz stepped right up after the game, and the owner, Ryan Smith, said he was embarrassed and very sorry. Okay? And guess who is now a minority owner in Utah? D-Wade. D-Wade. And I would like to hear from Dwayne on this at some point today, just to get him on the record, because it would help.
Right.
Because that franchise has a reputation sort of like the Celtics franchise when it comes to this. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute, about what Kyrie's about to experience tonight in Boston. But the point is, yes, good for the Jazz because they stepped right up and they said no, no, and no.
Right.
And yet, Mr. Morant made the point, I felt so much love from everybody around him, and they were having good nature, trash talk.
And he said, one of the fans said, we hope we see you next week. You come back. He said, you know I'll be back, but we'll be up 3-1 when I come back.
Okay. So just for context, I always tell friends of mine who want to go on the road with the Cowboys, let's say, to Philadelphia, let's say. They want to take a trip, or to New York. I say, you just have to be careful because if you put those colors on, that metallic blue one, and you go to Philly or obviously in New Jersey, or for that matter to Washington, you better be ready for it because you're going to get an earful. And if they get a snootful, as they say, you better be careful when you leave because it can lead to some bloodshed.
And guess what happens, Skip? They're there early. They're tailgating.
That's fine.
So you ain't just drinking water. You don't go to tailgate to drink water. So you feeling good. Now my team win. My team beats your team. And I'm talking, well, we beat the brakes off your sorry Cowboy. Or it was bad in Oakland. And I would never let any of my family or friends come to Oakland because I already know how I was going to be, Skip.
I've been there in Oakland. It is.
Yes. So I was like, nah, don't worry about it. So, and that's Skip, I just don't get people now. Okay. I really don't.
My point is, in context, even the Morants have to be a little careful. They better kind of keep it above board because emotions are running hot and high.
Skip, I mean, his dad probably my age. He probably that, boy, my boy killing. My boy cooking y'all. Y'all ain't got nobody can do anything with my boy. Okay. You know, he having a good time. Like, she's like, look at my baby. That's my baby.
And a lot of them are giving it back to him in that same vein.
Oh, look at Donovan. Donovan doing that. And you going to talk about F-U-B?
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Oh, that's why. See, Skip, you're right. That's why you don't go and get, But even if, Skip, you think about the seats, what those seats cost at Madison Square Garden, where that gentleman was sitting. You're probably talking about, what, $7 to $10 grand? And somebody in a $7,000 to $10,000 seat, spit at somebody. Let that sink in for a second. You would think, well, first of all, a common courtesy and decency say you wouldn't spit in someone's direction or try to spit on someone. But he's sitting in those seats, and that's what he's thinking. And in Utah, look, I'm just glad Utah took the course of action. It was swift. It wasn't talking about we need to do some investigation to try to stall it out and hope it blows over, and then you forget about it. They says, no, these are the steps that we took, and in any future some fan gets unruly, this is what's going to happen. So I commend the Utah Jazz. The NBA issued a statement. Yeah, NBA, you're going to have to, because, I mean, the fans are, to the line, and now you're going over the line. And there's only so much a person can take before they like, okay. I saw a clip last night where Vernon Maxwell actually went up in the stand.
I know that clip.
and fired on somebody. And you Skip, you don't want that. But fans, come on. Cheer your team on. But keep it above the belt.
Hey, so on the same night, we had 3 separate incidents, Philly, New York, Utah, Salt Lake City, and it hurts the reputation of the NBA, except for the fact that they jumped all over this and we got banishment in all 3 cities. So at least we're moving in the right direction for the wrong reason.
Right. But I don't know what else the NBA can do. I don't know what, Skip, I don't know what. It's kind of like laws. Skip, we can put laws on the book, but people still going to break the law. You just make sure you punish them. That's all you can do. In a situation like this, NBA says, okay, we're going to have strict to protect the players, the arenas and the Jazz. Each team says, okay, this is what we're going to do. But, you still going to get somebody that's want a buck to say, guess what I did? I dumped my water. I dumped my whole beer on somebody. I did this, or I called him that. That's their badge of courage.
Well, here's hoping we don't have another one of these the rest of these playoffs anyway. At least some message has been sent, but you're right, we probably will somewhere.
No mercy.
Lead into Boston tonight, where Kyrie will face Celtics fans for the first time since he left for the Nets in June 2019. And Kyrie says he hopes the crowd at TD Garden will keep it strictly basketball tonight rather than engage in, quote, a belligerence or any racism. Celtics president Danny Ainge responded to Kyrie's comments saying, quote, I never heard any of that from any player that I've ever played with in my 26 years in Boston. Shannon, what kind of reception will Kyrie get tonight?
I believe he'll get booed. There's no love lost between the fans. They don't believe that the Kyrie experiment was a success. He got injured. His first year, I think he had nasal surgery and wasn't on the sidelines for a few of the games, Skip. It just didn't go well. It did not go as well as they had hoped. They hoped, given what Kyrie had done his last 2 years in Cleveland, they had hoped that he could lead them, and along with what he had done side LeBron, could help them get to the NBA final. And it didn't go well. For whatever reason, he got injured. For whatever reason, Boston and Kyrie did not end well. So he goes, and they see how well he's playing now. And they're like, well, you really never played that way for us. And then Kyrie's pointing out, I just hope, look, boo, cheer, do whatever you want to do, but let's just keep it above the table. Because there's some subtle things that you guys say and some things that have been said. And Danny Ainge said that. Well, all you do is go ask Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart said, yeah. He said, not only have I heard it for opposing players, I've heard him say it to the players that play here. You cheer for us in 1 minute, and the next breath, basically, you say this. Avery Bradley says his brother told him that they said some things to him. So Danny Ainge is not being truthful. And I get it, you caping up for your city. But I don't think there are very many people that's not caping up for Mississippi or Alabama or Tennessee or giving the history of Georgia and South Carolina. And we know some of the history. So you're going to cape for your city, even your state or whatever you want to call it. But even though you know. There's a guy on the radio station say, well, yeah, there are some guys like Cornbread Maxwell and guys that were in the 80s that heard things. There are some guys that were in the 90s that heard things. But that don't mean, bruh, you validating what the players are saying by saying some guys on their own team. These are your guys.
That's correct.
You would think if anything, Skip, I ain't saying nothing about you. You my guy. I might call you shouldn't call him, but you call your guy that. And then you gonna say, well, you upset at what Kyrie said, but you're not upset at the behavior that your city has displayed throughout its history. And Kyrie's like, look, boo me. Okay, I'm good with that. We coming there with a purpose, with a mission, but let's keep it above the table.
It's hard for me to even muster up a response to Danny Ainge because he looks so bad.
Yes, he knows the history.
This was a classically bad example of white privilege, sort of white blindness, where you just can't see or feel. You're so tone deaf to even say this publicly at this point in time that this nation is at. And he just looks bad. The legacy is that Mr. Russell, as in Bill Russell, just had to survive an onslaught of racism from the people of Boston and the fans of the Celtics. And he always said, I got nothing but love for the people inside here, for my teammates and all the people who built, starting with Brett Auerbach, the franchise. Right. And remember, back in the 60s, Bill Russell was the first African-American head coach, he was a player coach, in the league.
Right.
And they were the first in 1965 to start all 5 black players. It's beautiful. And there were breakthroughs. They're the first I'm going all the way back to 1950. They were the first franchise to draft a black player. Wow. So you got that going for you, but you have this other legacy.
Right.
That is clearly out there that you need to acknowledge and then move on and up.
But Skip, that's the problem. It's like when we talk about America, we're not saying America isn't great. But America also has a history that you refuse to acknowledge. And what Danny Ainge did, Skip, was the equivalent of what the Republicans are doing. Basically saying January 6th was a tourist excursion. That's what they're saying. Because I don't know anything about that. I wouldn't feel for my life. I wasn't scared at all. Come on, Danny, you know this. Danny, you've been there. Danny Ainge got there in what? Skip, probably what, the mid-80s? Yeah. 81? I'm going to say 81, 82. He's been there for 40 years. He ain't never heard nothing. Not one black teammate has ever told him about a racist incident. Not one.
He said, I often talk to Kyrie, and he never said a word to me about any of this. Well, I'm not sure Kyrie would have to Danny Ainge.
What about Marcus? Did you ask Marcus Smart? You asked Avery Bradley? So is that Skip, is kind of like, if I don't really want to know, I'm not going to go ask the people that would know. I'm going to go ask people on the peripheral. Because I know they don't know. Hey, did you hear anything? No. But he's not the one that told you.
Yep. So, look, the big picture point here is, in that arena tonight, I'm not sure exactly how many fans they will cram in there, but it may be close to capacity tonight. Many, many of them, you could say the vast majority, have not a racial bone in their, racist bone in their body. A few surely do. But the point is, Kyrie has asked for it, so he's going to hear it.
Yeah, he getting booed.
And it's going to reverberate in there. He's going to get booed and booed because hell hath no fury like Celtics fans scorn. Because the truth is, he was a disaster when he was there.
It's as simple as that.
He gave them no reason to love him at all. To protect him tonight at all. And he did go back one time on Christmas Day, as you remember, but there were 0 fans. So he got to skate through that one. But he's just going to hear boos. I hope he doesn't hear any comments, but he may. It may be sort of trash-talking sort of comments. But the point is, he asked for it because remember, back in March of 2018 at a fan night, he said, if you all have me back, I'm going to resign here.
Right.
He pledged allegiance.
A fan asked, basically, a fan asked him, are you going to leave us like LeBron left? And he's like, if you would have me, Skip.
If you'll have me. And then it just fell all apart. And the next thing you know, he's throwing the whole team under the bus. These young players don't know how to win a championship. And then he finally said, ask me on July 1st whether I'm going to be back here, which indicated he wasn't. And we saw the video up the tunnel at the All-Star game. He's doing 2 to Kevin Durant. Brooklyn's got 2 max contracts, and we are gone.
Skip, Danny would have come out better than I said. You know, it's very unfortunate that people have to, we have to guide those guys have had to experience that. But to come out and say, in his 40 years of being in Boston, come on, Skip.
Yep. Okay. And to finish up on Kyrie, his performance or lack thereof.
Yes.
His last go-round in the playoffs, they won the first series, but then against Milwaukee, they won the first game by 22. And from that point on, Kyrie shot a combined 5 of 27 from 3. That's 18.5% in those 4 straight losses. That's how he flamed out and left Boston.
And plus, Skip, I think a part of this is that Kyrie saw they actually played better with him not being there.
Yes.
When he wasn't on the court.
Well, they took LeBron to 7 games.
Right. Yeah. And even when the next year, when he would miss games, those young guys, Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, played better without Kyrie.
I agree.
And he's like, y'all really think y'all better without me? You know what? I'm going to take my show on the road.
Yep.
I'm bouncing.
That is correct. And allow me to say something very positively about your man, LeBron James. After he took his talents to South Beach with the Heat, he had to return to Cleveland. And do you remember that night? LeBron just put basically earmuffs on, right? I mean, he just went out there and you want to talk about
30, well, he almost had 40, didn't he?
He annihilated.
And they said they were throwing coins, they were throwing batteries, they had to have extra security.
Yes. People were going on the floor.
Yes.
And to his credit, he just shut it all out because the way to shut them up is to just score the basketball.
Well, Skip, first of all, if you look at the game, the first 2 games, they haven't been close. And I don't really know how close this was going to be because they're so overwhelmingly overmatched.
Yep.
Just from a purely talent standpoint. So I don't really know. I mean, this thing could be over at the half.
Yep, it could, but Kyrie better buckle up. He better be ready. It's going to be a test of his character and backbone. He's just going to have to go out there and play basketball.
Man, just go ahead and get you some of them ear things and put in your ear so you can block out the noise. You might not hear a whole lot of the pit coming up, but you won't hear all that other bull jive either.
That's true, too.
Because it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad.
It's going to be a long night, you know, through his ears, but through his eyes, they should go up 3-0.
Yeah.
No mercy. Tim Tebow, well, here to stay at the moment. A day after Trevor Lawrence said Tebow looks great and has had a positive impact on the Jaguars, Tebow reportedly caught every pass thrown his way at practice, including 2 that went for touchdowns. 1 from Lawrence and another from Gardner Minshew. So, Shannon, what does this tell you? Seeing the footage.
Dropping his arms when he's coming in the break, in and out of the break. They're going to be all over that. I ain't going to contend. Really? Nothing. It tells me nothing. So this is what we are now, Skip Bayless. We're talking about a guy in 7-on-7 drill. This is what it's come to. We're talking about a guy on 7-on-7. Now, last I checked, I was in a lot of 7-on-7 drills. I don't remember blocking a defensive end in 7-on-7. I don't remember blocking one. So you go, I mean, I can't even believe you, Skip. I can't believe you got me. You can
hit that sled, though. Woo. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Power. Did you see what he weighs? 255? Are you kidding?
Skip, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And this is about, well, he's improving. Okay, so what's his baseline? What is he improving from? I mean, you've never seen him play the position. I mean, true story, Skip, when I took my dog, I ended up having to put Talker Man down. And I took him to the vet, and they're like, well, he's improving. I said, from what? Well, you know, he's alert. I said, can he move his back legs? No. Well, he's not improving.
That's a problem.
Because I know what Tonka was before I brought him in there. So what is he improving from? You've never seen him play tight end. You've never seen him run routes. You've never seen him catch the football in live situations. So how can you say he's improving when you haven't seen anything? Normally, guys like get in the game, preseason game, regular season game, you're like, okay, you see it slowing down. Even a team setting. but he's improving. In 7-on-7, when he doesn't have to beat a linebacker off the line of scrimmage, or he doesn't have to maneuver. He just free release and, oh my God, really? Really? Y'all think this is good? Y'all think this is really good? He ain't pulling no safety. Safety gonna be standing right there. You gotta pump, you gotta skip, you gotta sell it. You know what I'm just saying? No. It ain't happening. And you know it's not happening. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip. You really should. Today, on a Friday, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm ashamed I picked the Clippers, but I'm not ashamed that I picked Tim Tebow. Shannon Sharpe, this is amusing to me, but also painful for me to watch you across the table because I know what's happening, and I get it, and I am sympathetic because you're a Hall of Fame tight end. Hall of Fame. You are in hallowed Canton.
Yeah.
Your bust is there as we speak, and it's probably speaking because it can't stop talking either.
No,
right?
yeah, I got a good group to talk to.
That is correct. And it is annoying you, and then irritating you, and then tormenting you, and angering you that Tim Tebow at age 33 is suddenly back in the National Football League playing for his college coach and switching to quote-unquote tight end. Am I right?
Yep.
I understand that, but I'm going to say this one more time. It's all sleight of hand or sleight of hand off because he's not going to play tight end. He's going to play H-back. Diana Rossini on ESPN 2 days ago reported that Tim Tebow will play quarterback in the mold of Taysom Hill, obviously in New Orleans. It'll be something like that. It'll be a lot more like what Tebow did for Urban Meyer when he was a freshman at Florida, when Chris Leak was the unquestioned starting quarterback of what became a national championship team. I'm going to tell you again, in that year, Tebow averaged 2.4 passes per game. I'm not even sure he'll get that. He might get one pass every once in a while on a trick play sort of formation in short yardage or goal line, jump pass as he used to throw when he was a freshman. That year, he averaged 10.8 yards per attempt, which is pretty great. And he threw 5 touchdown passes to only 1 interception in very few attempts. He ran it that year 6.4 times a game in 14 games. That's a lot. That's a lot more than he's going to do for this team. But they used him in key play situations, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, goal line, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And in this case, Urban is doing with Tebow what he's doing with ETN, the high pick, obviously late first-round pick. He has ETN lining up at wide receiver because he's trying to turn him into Percy Harvin. You remember Percy Harvin at Florida. He was just, I remember him in pro football. He was just devastating. But you use him as a slot back. Sometimes you line him up in the backfield, but you, like with Tebow, you got to get him ready to catch short passes because what they'll do, they'll line him up at H-back. They'll swing it to him every once in a while. They'll screen it to him every once in a while, and they'll throw him maybe every once in a while a flat pass, just a little 2-yard out route, I'm talking about 3rd and 2. So that's all you need to do. You're not a tight end because you don't have Shannon Sharpe in you. That's laughable to me.
You don't think he'll go down and catch a seam?
No, he will not catch any seams. I could be wrong about that, but I just sincerely doubt it. And for 255, he runs pretty well, just okay. I watched him one day. I told you at Dedeaux Field at USC in his baseball audition back in, that would be August of 2016. I watched, he ran in the outfield, and I think it was a legit 40-yard, and a bunch of people were stopwatching him, and he ran 4.6, which was pretty good. I think he was 240-ish at that point. So he's bulked up a little bit, but he is a wrecking ball of competitive fury. That's who he is. And Urban knows that, and he's going to try to tap into that fury, that, as I told you, force of competitive nature on key plays. So it's as simple as that. That's why he's going to have a roster spot just for designated plays. And will Trevor Lawrence love it? He'll like the result of it. He won't love, as Drew Brees couldn't have loved Taysom Hill taking some snaps.
But let this sink in. The team that drafted the #1 pick overall, which is a quarterback, is getting less talked about. We're not talking about what he's doing. We're talking about what a guy's doing that's come back into the league, switch position after 6 years.
Well, I got it. He is simply the most polarizing player in the history of pro football to me. And we can go on and on about the depth of why that is, but he just is. Nobody is more loved and loathed than Tim Tebow to this day. And what he did in 2011, it's so debatable because it was pretty extraordinary, but it ended fairly quickly, 16 starts, and never again. And then he was forced to go to baseball.
I mean, see, the thing is that what he did, he gets all the credit. What Trent Dilfer did, the defense gets all the credit. What Russ did in 2013, it was the Legion of Boom. No other quarterback has gotten credit like Tim Tebow has gotten credit, even though the defense and the special teams was exemplary. And I think that's what a lot of people have pushback. So why couldn't anyone else get credit? Why does he have to get all the credit?
Where was the defense and where were the special teams when your Broncos fell to 1-4 under Kyle Orton?
Well, he was turning, Skip, you have to understand, is that they changed the way, they changed it. All of a sudden, they weren't throwing 30 passes a game. They were trying to run it. So they were shortening the game.
They did.
Guys made mistakes. I mean, Chicago has the game won, and Marion Barber runs out of bounds and stopped the clock. And then it took Prater to kick a 58-yard field goal to win it. So we're not talking about the 58-yard field goal. We're not talking about the mistake that a guy made that would have won them, had he not made it, would have won them the game. Well, Tebow won the game. No, Tebow didn't.
Okay, do not underestimate. I can give you the play-by-play because I know it by heart, how many big passes he completed in the last 5 minutes of that Chicago game. I give you, I don't know what Marion Barber was thinking. He saved the Broncos.
He did.
It was all on him. He could have virtually ended the game.
Yes.
And he did not. But Tebow did end the game.
Right.
And, again, setting up. And it was a 58-yard field goal. But for him in that atmosphere, that's like a chip shot.
If you want to use that argument, where was the defense when they were losing? Well, where was the defense when we were losing? No, you can't turn the ball over. Play to your strength. And they weren't playing to their strength. They were a defensive-based football team. And Josh McDaniels was trying to beat Tom Brady. You didn't have Tom Brady. Okay. So you can't throw it. Kyle Orton was mistake-prone.
Okay.
But you're trying to do something because you did it in New England and had success, but you don't have the level of quarterback to operate that.
Remember, Tebow turned that offense into the #1 rushing attack in pro football.
And that's what they should have been.
He wound up, and he only started, what would that have been, 11 games, and he had 750 yards rushing as a quarterback. Right. And Willis McGahee just ran wild. He had, 1,200 yards.
And that's what they should have been all along. So, Skip, you can't, it's hard for you to get midstream, get, 5, 6, 7 games into the season and change what you are. See, that's what they should have been all along. But Josh McDaniels got it in his thick head. Well, I can throw the ball. That's what I do. That's what we do. But you didn't have Tom.
Okay. But he got fired the previous year at midseason. Right. And it was mostly because of the scandal in London. And
John Fox was always scared. John Fox was always a run-first guy. And all of a sudden, he wanted to throw the ball.
Okay.
Skip, Tim Tebow did what he did. But let's not make it seem like it was the greatest thing. It was the greatest season a quarterback has ever had. That's what the problem is. You make it seem like that's the greatest season. That's the greatest 11-game stretch of football a quarterback has ever played. And that's not true.
It was the most extraordinary I've ever seen under the circumstances. And I still say in that 16-game body of work, I've never seen a greater clutch playmaker than Tebow was in all 16 of those starts, including the 3 at the end of the previous year for a bad football team.
You're making it seem like the guy was playing under duress, like somebody had his family kidnapped or something. And like if he didn't win a game, they was going to do something. Stop it, Skip.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, you talking about under the circumstances. What circumstances? He was a quarterback.
They were terrible. That's the circumstance. You realize Josh got fired the year before.
Oh, my goodness.
And I don't even know who was playing quarterback. Was it still Kyle Orton?
Kyle Orton.
Okay. But they got to the end of the year, and it's all interim, and they say, well, let's let Tebow start. And he goes to Oakland and almost has 100-yard rushing, and they lost because they were a bad team. And then Houston comes to Denver. This is his rookie year, okay? His second start, and he throws for 308 and drives them basically the length of the field at the end of the game and scores from 6 yards out to win the game 24-23 over Matt Schaub. What's wrong with that?
You see what you did?
I didn't do anything. I just spat facts.
They lost the game to Oakland. Tim Tebow started. They were a bad team. They beat Houston. Now Tim Tebow's
still a bad team.
Oh, no, that's not what you said.
Well, they were just a bad football team.
Okay.
They win like 4 games.
Okay.
They were terrible.
How does it, if they lose a game, they're a bad football team. They win a game, Tim Tebow's great.
No, but you could see he was playing at a high level. He was throwing at a high level. 308, will that work?
Yeah.
Was it an NFL game against an NFL defense?
Yes.
Okay, and I told you, his final game at Florida, I watched the whole thing. Cincinnati was 12-0, and he throws for 482.
Brian Kelly had left and went to Notre Dame. You give the context. Okay, why didn't he throw against 482 against Bama in the SEC championship game?
Well, obviously, who does?
Okay,
well, no, wait, everybody does.
Oh, no.
Right?
No, not back then. St. Nick had a stank. You know, that was the beginning. That was the beginning. We ain't going to talk about why a lot of people started leaving at that conference.
Yeah, but by the way, in that SEC championship game, they lost badly. They gave up almost 250 yards rushing, Florida did.
Yeah.
So that was just, they got literally run over. Tebow had 250 yards passing and ran for almost another 100 yards. So he had almost 350 combined yards, but they got blown out because they couldn't stop the run.
How many times you get the ball in the end zone? All them yards. He got all them yards. So how many times you get the ball in the end zone?
Yeah.
You doing all that, you should have about 4, 5, 6 touchdowns, right?
Well, he threw for 482 against Cincinnati in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
There's a
prime time.
Cincinnati, Alabama. Cincinnati, Alabama.
12-0. Interesting.
Skip, you know good well they were shell-shocked.
31-36?
Skip, they were shell-shocked. They were even talking about it, how Brian Kelly had left them high and dry.
Yep.
And they said, well, we know we're not going to let one coach doing what he did stop us. They were done. Once the coach left, they were done. You know it, too. You won't mention that. You still ain't mentioned that. Did Brian Kelly leave Cincinnati?
I don't really care.
See?
Was it the same guys who had gone 12-0? Yeah.
So now coaching don't matter. So if that's the case, Alabama. So how Alabama win all them titles? That they got Coach Saban, they were still Alabama before Coach Saban got there, right?
Okay, whatever. All I know is our Fox bet. They still think that Tebow the odds are will not even make the team. I might have to get me some of that.
I got
you
me some.
You might have to at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the easy prop bet. He making the team.
Did we bring the Tebow jersey out today, or is that only special?
I decided I didn't want to wear it out.
Okay.
No.
Plus, the point is, Gardner Minshew is still there wearing 15. That ain't going to last. Mine's at 85.
You cannot wear no. You're not wearing no Tebow jersey.
I got to get a 15.
Skip.
15.
No prop. I'm the only guy to do the props, okay? I'm the prop guy.
I've got a few key props.
Really creative on Undisputed. I'm looking forward to this.
I still got the Clippers hat that Jenny gave me.
Yeah, well, apparently that was bad luck.
I wonder how that worked.
No mercy.
Well, the Suns could only score 95 points against the Lakers last night, allowing LA to take a 2-1 series lead. Chris Paul continued to be severely limited and is now 7th on the Suns in total points in this series. And things also got chippy between Jay Crowder and the Lakers, and he became the latest victim of LeBron after challenging him to a one-on-one in the middle of the fourth quarter. And Anthony Davis led all scorers with 34 points despite getting his knee just a bit banged up, which had some worrying a little bit there. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joins us now. Chris, great to have you. Scale 1 to 10, how impressive were the Lakers last night getting it done?
I'm going to give them an 8. This was the game that we've been waiting for. This was the game where the Lakers showed the Suns what time it was. That, look, you had a nice season, but now it's time to go home for the summer, think about what you've learned, mature, and then come back and we'll see you next year. That you can't beat us. All right, this was the game in which they did that. And I say that because they didn't just edge the Suns. They didn't get hot from 3 like anybody in the NBA can and have a great shooting night that the Suns could write off as an aberration. Oh, they just got hot. They won't do that again. No, they beat the Suns in a way that the Suns have no answer for. There's no adjustments to be made for what the Lakers did to the Suns last night. And that's why they've put this series, I thought they were going to win in 5 anyway, but now they've put this series out of reach for Phoenix because, as I've been saying, guys, and I've been clamoring for it. If you're going to play big, Lakers, with Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James as a huge front line, then play big. Don't just be big, play big. And they did it last night. They demolished Phoenix in the paint. They're not just posting up, but driving into the lane, not settling for jump shots, not settling for threes. They didn't even shoot well from 3, in fact. But they pounded them in the paint. They had 58 points in the paint. That's 14 more than they had in either of the first 2 games. They out-rebounded Phoenix by 16. They had 15 offensive rebounds. And in the third quarter, this is astonishing. In the third quarter, when they blew the game open, all 13 of the Lakers' baskets came in the paint. That is incredible. And that is what the Suns don't have an answer for. They're just not big enough. They're just not strong enough. You see Mikal Bridges on LeBron. I know Crowder's on him too. But Mikal Bridges looks like a little boy trying to guard LeBron. And LeBron, that's the other thing. He's back. All right, I love the savvy, smart, calm, cool LeBron that we saw in the first two games. But I like this one better. All right, where he'll overwhelm you with his strength and his athleticism. He went to the basket with abandon. He finished in the paint. And that is what I figured would eventually start to happen in these playoffs. But with LeBron like that and capable, I'm not saying he'll do that next game. He may take his time and be calm, more savvy next game too. But knowing that capability is there, he can turn it on when he wants. Because first half he wasn't really into it. And then the second half, he just turned it on. I only gave them an 8 because they got a little complacent late in the fourth quarter and gave the Suns a bit of life when they cut it to 8. But the Suns know and the Lakers know, and we all know now that this is over.
Chris, you've been cheating on my paper because that's what I gave them. I gave them an 8 also, and I thought they were impressive. But when you think about it, they were 4 from 17 on wide open threes. Chris, you said they didn't shoot the ball well from 3. They didn't shoot the ball anywhere well except the paint. And that's what's so amazing about what they did, how they were able to seize control of this ball game, and they didn't get hot. Everybody else has gotten streaky hot from the 3 in the playoffs, at least once. We have been terrible from 3 all 3 games. So what happens is we get hot. If KCP can ever hit more than 2 shots from distance, if we get hot,
now he's your target.
No, he ain't no target.
Yeah.
But he playing great defense. As long as he keep making it tough on Book, keeping being efficient, we can live with that. Yes, we would like to see him hit wide open shots, but he's doing a great job on the defensive end. But I kept telling you, Chris, I said the Drum Dog Millionaire, they need to ride Big Drum.
That's a terrible nickname.
Big Drum.
Terrible. It's lame.
I told you, Skip, remember I kept telling you, I said you can't judge Andre Drummond until you see him with LeBron and AD. I say that then because LeBron will feed him. He's running up and down the court, Chris. He's getting rebound after rebound. He's blocking shot. He's doing all he can. And then nobody wants to give him the ball. LeBron's like, bruh, you keep playing like that, I won't give you the ball. I won't call a set for you. What LeBron do? LeBron went to the side, Drum posted DeAndre Ayton, and what happened to him? Hit him with the spin and dunked on him like Elijah Wan. I said, okay, Drum. Now, after Drummond, I remember seeing. It's just a matter of time.
We're in Detroit. He lost every playoff game he ever played.
Well, still, which, as the 8th seed, there's not only been a handful of 8 seeds that's ever won a series, right, Chris? In the first, the Nuggets did it. They beat Seattle.
He came to L.A. 0-8 in playoff games.
But guess what? He'll be 500, over 500 by the time he's done, come with a championship.
Yep.
So I gave him an 8. They were impressive. As Chris said, they didn't shoot well. But Skip, you remember now, how many points they scored? 95. They got 99 the first game, and they barely squeaked over 100. I'm just saying, it ain't none of my business, but there's a reason why we #1 defense.
This is about to be my business. You guys amuse me. I don't know what I'd do without this show and you two to bring such laughter to my mornings, because I'm going to give the Lakers, I'm going to be really nice to the Lakers, and I'm going to give them a 2 on the impressive scale.
You just gave them a 1 the other day.
I know, but I'm going to give them a 2. I don't even know why, just to be a good guy, because my Clippers are so bad that I should give the Lakers some love today of a 2.
Thank you.
Because Chris says, they showed those Suns what time it is.
It is.
It is MRI time for Chris Paul because he is injured. He didn't just have a stinger that comes and flashes and goes. He's hurt. His shoulder is hurt. He is a sad shell of himself. He can't pass the basketball with his right hand. He can barely shoot it with his right hand. He led the NBA in free throw shooting. And in this series, he's now 3 of 6 from the free throw line. The baskets that he made last night were miraculous. They were true miracles. He made 2 little mid-range jump shots. He had to suck it up and just will the ball in the basket. And then he barely played in the second half and scored 0 points. And for these 3 games, Chris Paul is averaging 6.7 assists and points and 6.3 assists. 6.7 and 6.3. During the year, he was 16 and 9 in the MVP conversation. A year ago, the Suns were no good. They did sweep the bubble. They went 8-0 in the bubble, but they went to the bubble at 26 and 39. You guys last night beat the 26 and 39 Phoenix Suns, the setting Suns, because they're not very good. And Ja Morant was just dumb enough before the game to...
Jay Crowder,
what'd I say? Jay Crowder was just dumb enough before the game to like a post suggesting that the Lakers' bubble ring was fraudulent. That's all that the Suns needed because they don't have Chris Paul. And that last night, Saric couldn't even play. They didn't even have Saric last night. And then Ja Morant puts himself in the grinder because Laker fans are... Jay Crowder. I said, what I'm calling John. Jay Crowder is putting himself in the grinder in the first playoff game at Staples in 8 years. They're chanting at him from the tip-off because they're angry with Jay Crowder because he's disrespecting their Lakers so badly before the game.
Right. And
guess what he does? He goes completely in the tank during the game. He shoots 2 of 9 and 1 of 7 from 3. You like that? And you guys are giving him an 8? How can you give them an 8 for this?
Well, Jay Crowder's 2 of 20 from the 3 in the series.
Okay, that's that guy.
But Skip,
that's who they are.
But Skip, but he's the one that's guarding AD. So why would you poke AD? AD just went for 30, 34, and 10 against you two days earlier.
That post was aimed at AD. I don't know why AD.
And so that you got to guard AD. What you think AD's thinking? AD's, so I'm fraudulent now. Oh, so you think I'm a fraud. Okay, let me show you.
So what did LeBron do in the fourth quarter? He was just clowning him. Yep. He was taunting him. He was embarrassing him. If we could just see this.
Yeah.
This is the play of the game. Watch Big Penguin on the bench. Let's watch Big Penguin. Okay.
He knows what's coming. Yeah. Everybody knows what's coming.
Here we go. Leaning on Jay Crowder. Leaning.
Do what you do, Drummond.
Lean. Drummond's leaning. He's mimicking LeBron. Mimicking. Lean on him and spin on him.
It should have been an and one.
It took all of LeBron's 36-year-old legs to sort of muster up that lead.
Jay, you know you can't do anything with me, bro.
Even now he can't do anything with year 18 LeBron. Are you kidding me?
That ain't no shame in that, Skip.
Okay.
Ain't nobody gonna do anything with it.
What did I tell you yesterday? That this was over at 1-1. It was already over. Look at this. And look at the bench. Look at them. They're like little kids jumping up and down.
They know
Way to go.
Skip, they know what was coming.
The Suns have set. You know it, and I know
it. And then it got so bad. Chris, you know, we might not win the game, but we going to win the fight. You know, we growing up, we might be losing the game. We start swinging on folks like that. We might lose the game, but we going to win the fight.
They were basically swinging. Because we got to see the push. Because Booker just lost it at the end of the game and just shoves Schroeder, who's airborne at that point, and then Crowder takes a little shot at him.
Crowder might have helped him because he pushed it back the other way.
They frustrated Book.
Yep.
That's how y'all get, Chris. You know y'all light-skinned guys. We be talking about y'all can't play basketball. Y'all get upset.
and Chris.
That used to be the thing.
Chris. I try to love Devin Booker. I do, because he's a star, and I want him to be a superstar. He's a lousy three-point shooter. He's another one. He's 34%. If you can just push him out a little bit, he's deadly from mid-range.
Yeah.
But look at what he was. What was he, 7 of 17 last night? 1 of 4.
6 of 19.
6 of 19.
17 the night before, 2 nights ago. Yeah.
Okay. So they don't even have their star rising to this occasion. And
that's the thing he's got to improve. Yep, the three-point shot.
And DeAndre Ayton.
And Skip, obviously.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, DeAndre Ayton that they got outscored in the paint 58-38 because he plays no defense. It's like there's a rule. You can play offense, but you can't play defense. Where is he on defense? He doesn't protect the rim at all.
Yeah, he's only do so much.
But I don't think he can stop. He can't stop AD in the paint. He certainly can't stop Drummond in the paint.
Yeah.
So, look, he's played well, but getting outplayed by AD is no shame. You're right, obviously, about Chris Paul, but here's the thing. And I had Chris third on my MVP ballot. Yep. So I respected all he did for this team this year. But remember, Ayton was suspended for 25 games last year, early in the season. And it was when he came back in late December that the Suns really started playing much better. They were actually an over 500 team in the West, so it's impressive. Over 500 from the time Ayton got back from suspension. So they were on the rise anyway. I think they would have made the playoffs anyway without Chris. But he took them to the top. But even with a healthy Chris Paul, this wouldn't have mattered. The Lakers they're just the better team. And they could do the same thing they did last night to him with Chris Paul. Healthy.
No mercy.
How about we talk about the Clippers?
Clippers fans, it's been tough for them.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
You're going to have a great weekend.
Well, I've had a great weekend.
And on Sunday night, you can make plans for all the props you want.
Say that one more time about the props. I want you to say that what you just said again. I can have as many props
as you want because I was dead solid wrong.
That's mighty big of you, Skip, to admit that.
Well, the Clippers are about to get planted in the ground in Dallas. That's what's going to happen.
We saw, we conquered.
Yep.
No pressure about those props, Shannon. You're going to have to be ready because the Mavericks are taking their 2-0 series lead over the Clippers back to Dallas. 2 games this weekend. The Mavs followed up the 17 threes they made in Game 1 by making 18 in Game 2. But Ty Lue says the Clippers will show who they truly are with their backs against the wall, adding, quote, I think when you're down 2-0 and you're coming into another team's arena, it shows what you're made of. So, Chris Broussard still with us. Chris, where will the series stand when we return on Monday, apparently with all the props?
Well, Jen, I don't know if I'm being too kind, too tender-hearted.
Okay.
But I'm going to say when we return Monday that the Clippers still have life, that they will be down 3-1 when we get back on Monday. And I'm going to say it's going to be strange, though. Not like the Clippers win tonight. I think Dallas wins tonight, takes an insurmountable 3-0 lead. But the Clippers win Game 4, believe it or not, when they know they're done. And I say that because I think Dallas, being young, I think they will get complacent with the 3-0 lead, and the Clippers will be able to win Game 4. I actually think they'll win Game 5 in Staples and then lose this thing in 6. And I heard Ty Lue say all the right things about urgency and we're going to show them who we are. And he pointed out, Dallas has shot the ball too well to keep it up, for the rest of the series. And that's maybe what he should say as a head coach. But here's the problem. The last 3 times that the Clippers were in the position where you needed to play with incredible urgency, where it was not quite do or die, but essentially do or die, they haven't played with urgency. We go back to Game 6 last year against Denver. You're up 3-1. You lose Game 5. You think, okay, let's close them out before, we don't need to let this thing go to 7. And they lose. They didn't show up for Game 6. Then Game 7, you're thinking, okay, we let this thing go too long. Let's end it and get to the conference finals. And they didn't show up for that game. And then Game 2 against these Mavericks this year, if they didn't bring the urgency in Game 2 on their home floor, knowing you don't want to go down 0-2 heading to the opponent's arena, what's to make me think they're going to bring it tonight? They had all the reasons in the world to play their tails off in Game 2, and they still chose not to fight over picks, and they didn't take anything away from Dallas. Luka had his way, and the supporting cast had its way. Like, the goal is to take something away. We're going to stop Luka, let everyone else beat us. Stop everyone else, let Luka beat us. They're giving up everything. And offense is not the problem. I mean, what more can I ask but for Kawhi to have 41, for Paul George to have 28, for us to outscore them from the free throw line, the points in the paint, points off turnovers. What else can I ask? 38 points off the bench, and you still lose. They can't guard Luka, and it looks like they don't want to guard Luka. And that is why I think they lose tonight, and essentially for all, intents and purposes, it's over. But I think they'll be able to win Game 4 because Dallas will get complacent.
I agree with you, Chris. This is what I said. I believe it'll be 3-1. I believe the Mavericks win tonight and the Clippers win on Sunday. For me, the sense of urgency, they got a sense of urgency. Kawhi Leonard came out and gave you a playoff performance of a lifetime. Paul George gave you 28, so you got 69 between your two stars. And it's picked up right where they left off. It was a conga line. They couldn't stop Luka last year from getting whatever he want. Remember, they had to step on his already injured ankle to slow him down, Chris. Now he's fully healthy. So what are you going to make Luka? Are you going to say, look, somebody just got to bear this 50-point night, but we're not going to leave these shooters? Because 30 of their threes that they've made have come on wide open looks. Most guys, unless you play for the Lakers, are going to make those shots. So what are you going to do? Are you going to let Luka get 39 and still dish out 8-9 assists? Or you just might as well just say, you know what, because his assists are three-pointers. They're not the conventional he's driving the basketball, Chris, and dumping it off to a big and they dunking it. No, his assists are coming with Tim Hardaway Jr. nailing threes, Kleber nailing threes, Finney Smith nailing threes. So you got to take something away. But I just want someone to tell me how this mentally tough team with the two best wing defenders, I want to reiterate that because that's all I heard. The two greatest wing defenders since Pip and Jordan, and they can't stop the little 22, 21-year-old kid from Slovenia.
But you had it backwards since Jordan and Pip.
Yeah.
You got to get them in the right order.
Okay. Since Jordan and Pip. Hey, I forgot Pat Bev, that little bulldog, that Pat Bev.
Pitbull.
Pat Bev, Serge Ibaka. We got a blocker and you don't.
Well, we don't have him anymore because he's got back spasms and he's probably out. So go ahead.
So who goes? So somebody need to take the test. Okay, there's a written exam. It's called Luka Doncic. Kawhi's taking it, Chris. He's failed. Paul George is taking it. He's failed.
Pat Bev took it.
Pat Bev, they kicked Pat Bev out of school. His grade was so bad guarding Luka. So what are you going to do, Skip? You got to take, like Chris said, you got to take something away. Can't give him everything. Like a child. You get a child everything you want, you spoil him. So Luka's spoiled right now because he get everything he want, Chris. He want cookies, he get cookies. He want ice cream, he get ice cream. I love it. I love you feeling miserable. I see that look on your face. I see that look on your face right now. That's that look I see it only a handful of times. I've only seen that look a handful of times.
Yeah, because I'm up like 100 cases of Diet Dew on you.
I'm going to get it back. I'm going to get it right back. This playoff series, I'm going to get it all back.
Okay, it is my turn. I am sick and tired of hearing you both just talk about this. Let's just, I don't want to hear about some mercy win on Sunday night. I don't want to hear about it.
You want to get swept?
It's over. Let's get this over with. Oh. Look, the Clippers were nicknamed for ships. They're Clipper ships, and they have now sprung all the same leaks, 1,000 leaks that they sprung last year in the bubble against Denver. And they will start sinking into the Trinity River tonight in Dallas, and they will sink to the bottom of the Trinity River on Sunday night, and they will be done because they will be swept. It is over. They are so shell-shocked by games 1 and 2 that they will not be able to, so to speak, right the ship.
If they get swept, they're going to blow it up, Skip.
You got it right. They will blow it. That owner, he only knows winning in his field of aspiration, and he will blow this sky high. Heads are going to roll everywhere after Sunday night because I do not see how they can suddenly bounce back. Dallas knows they have them right where they want them. And even now, the odds makers are playing into the Mavericks' hands because I keep telling Shannon, Chris, the Clippers are still the odds makers' champions. I don't feel stupid for picking the Clippers because the odds makers continue to pick the Clippers. Even last year in the bubble, every time the Clippers played Denver, they were a higher point favorite over the Nuggets than the Lakers were when they, in the next round, played the Denver Nuggets. Routinely, the Clippers last year would be 7 or 8 point favorites all the way to the bitter end when they obviously blew the 3-1 lead. And yet when the Lakers faced them, they would be 5 or 6 point favorites in every game. Tonight, my Clippers are still 2 point favorites at Dallas after the destruction that we've seen Luka wreak on them in games 1 and 2. They were 6.5 point favorites in game 1 and lost by 10. 6 point favorites at home in game 2, and they lost by 6. They were up to 2.5 point favorites last night at Dallas. Now it's 2 points. They are the odds makers champs because the odds makers do what I do. They look at that roster. They do what you did because you picked the Clippers to win games 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And they look at the roster. They look at the depth. They say, this team is loaded. Mm-hmm. Ty Lue is decorated. He helped LeBron come back from 3-1 and win a championship. Everything is right. They're a better team than they were a year ago. They're a little different team, but not in psyche, because I thought playoff Rondo would fix what ailed them. And he hasn't played enough minutes to my taste, but down the stretch, he cannot quarterback a team that still can't figure out how to close a deal. They still degenerated in both games 1 and 2 down the stretch into, is it my turn or your turn? Do you want to go? And if you put George Paul in one-on-ones late in the game, he's going to be like, should I shoot it or not? He was great until late. Kawhi was great until late. And then they come all apart because there's no ball movement. The Lakers move the ball beautifully. The Lakers play serious, prideful, hardcore, physical defense. And I don't know what possesses the Clippers because they're a very good defense. They were 4th in points allowed this year. And now they look like they don't even care about playing defense.
Because here's the thing. What do you tell me when we picking football? With football season, you says, Shannon, I have Tom Brady, you don't.
That's correct.
Ty Lue, you had LeBron James. Clippers, you do not. Okay. And in the crunch situation, yes, you have Rondo. Rondo is a great quarterback, but his receivers can't catch. So it doesn't, because they resorted back to what they did last year. Chris, what did they do last year in clutch situations? They crumble. The game got close. The Denver Nuggets says, you know what? If we don't let them get running high, be up 25, 30 points going into the fourth quarter, if we can make them operate in the last 5 minutes of the ball game, we like our chances. And when the rubber needed to meet the road, all of a sudden, the shot that Paul George was raining, all of a sudden hitting the side of the backboard. That mid-range shot that Kawhi Leonard was making so effortlessly, the first 3 quarters, all of a sudden started back ironing. And now, all of a sudden, that pressure is started to mount. And Yoke and Murray, and we've seen it again.
Can I remind you, need I remind you, in games 5, 6, and 7 against Denver last year in the bubble, the Clippers were up 16, 19, and 12.
Yeah.
They were up big double digits in all 3 games and couldn't get any one of those 3 home. Are you kidding me? So now they've lost 5 straight playoff games in disastrous ways. You don't think their psyche is just destroyed?
Been telling you
do you think they have any confidence left tonight? They're not going to win game 3, and they're not going to win game 4. They're going to get swept. It's over. Monday is your day. Monday we're going to have, I hope, Chris on. It's your day, Chris. You can scream and yell all you want at me. You can ridicule me. You can destroy me on Monday because I deserve it.
Chris, go out and get a cigar. We got a victory Monday.
Well, look. I picked the Clippers to win this series, at least. I picked them in 7. I didn't pick them to win the West against the Lakers, but I did pick them to win this series. If I'm Ty Lue, I go into the locker room, or better yet, I talk to these guys in the morning shoot-around. I say to Kawhi and Paul George, you are guarding Luka all night, both of you. And whichever one's on him, we're not switching. Don't look for the switch.
Okay.
There will be no switch, so you got to fight over the pick. The picks are so high that Luka's not turning the corner and going right to the bucket, right?
Pathetic.
You can switch that and get on him.
Agreed.
So that's what I want to see. And I want to see Skip like you. I want to see Rondo in the bulk of the fourth quarter, like the last 8 to 10 minutes in the game.
Yep. No.
On the floor. I don't care how he's playing. I want him in there in the fourth quarter.
Everybody switches everything, Chris. You know ain't nobody fighting over the pick. They switch.
These are give-up switches where you don't even try.
Taking care of Luka is the only option at this point. But, Chris, please stick around.
No mercy.
Sunday, the best NASCAR season ever continues as the Cup Series returns to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Coca-Cola 600 at 6 Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. And don't miss your chance to win Clint Boyer's new Camping World RV and $25,000. So download the Fox Bet Super 6 app, answer 6 questions about Stage 2 of the Coca-Cola 600, and enter the sweepstakes for your chance to win. Completely free to play. Best of luck. Well, the Nets will take their 2-0 series lead into Boston tonight, where Kyrie will face Celtics fans for the first time since he left for the Nets in June 2019. And Kyrie says he hopes the crowd at TD Garden will keep it strictly basketball tonight rather than engage in, quote, belligerence or any racism. Celtics president Danny Ainge responded to Kyrie's comments saying, quote, I never heard any of that from any player that I've ever played with in my 26 years in Boston. Chris Broussard, I start with you here. Chris, what kind of reception do you think Kyrie will get tonight in Boston?
I think it's going to be bad. Look, he did get out in front of it, but I think now it's going to be worse than it would have been had he not even said anything. I think, they're going to call him a traitor. They're going to boo him. They're going to jeer him. They'll have signs. There'll probably be a lot of flat earth references and all that. And all that stuff's fine. That's well and good. But as long as they don't go racial, and I don't think they will. I mean, I think you'd have to be crazy to do that at this point. I certainly don't think there'll be any N-word references. But there are other ways you could go racial, and the Boston fans better stay clear of that. Also, and I don't know if they're thinking about this, don't criticize his religion. They might just think, oh, leave the race alone. Don't make any Islamic references or anything like that. Leave his religion and his race alone. It can be a great atmosphere, a lot of trash talk, a lot of booing, a lot of intensity, but leave the religion and the race alone, and it could be a great night for people to watch and people to enjoy basketball-wise.
I agree with everything you said. He's going to get booed relentless. I thought for a second, Skip, they might, would they introduce him? Yeah, and then every time he touched the ball, but not now. It's all, the gloves are off.
Yeah.
Even if the gloves were ever on, they're really off now. He's going to get booed. A lot of it has to do, he might think it has something to do with other things, but it wasn't a success, Chris. There's no way around it. Boston Celtics and Kyrie Irving did not mesh well together for whatever reasons. Maybe he was at a stage that he was, transitioning to what we see now.
Yep.
And maybe he was just still in his feelings and things rubbed him the wrong way with how they did business in Boston. But for whatever reason, it didn't work well. And it seemed to me they played better when Kyrie Irving wasn't on the court than when he was on the court. And I'm not so sure that they really missed him, that they miss him. Sure, he's a phenomenal talent. Undeniable. There's no mistaking that. There's nothing he can't do with the basketball in his hands. But it didn't work well. And like you said, Chris, he tried to get out in front of it. Now, Danny Ainge is either naive or tone deaf. But either one is bad. Because it's hard for me to believe to say...
I'd say tone deaf, but go ahead.
It's hard for me to believe, Skip. He says it's 20...
Period.
Yeah. In his 26 years, he's never heard a player. Well, you're asking the wrong player. Because it seems to me, Skip, if you want to know the real answer, Marcus Smart, he said what he said. Marcus Smart said, I've heard him say that about opposing players. They said that I've heard him say about the players that's on the team, which is ridiculous. Avery Bradley has come out and said, I didn't hear it, but they called my brother told me they called him this. So, Danny, don't do that. And everybody's going to keep up for this city. I'm going to take up for Atlanta. You know what? The Water Boys, this thing is getting out of hand. Skip, every time you pull up to an intersection, stoplight, they run up to your car trying to say you want a pro. Get back. I gave you $20. You talking about, man, you get out my face. You pull up to the gas station, leave your car running, they're going to ask Akon about that. They're going to come get it. They might lay you down. I still love Atlanta.
Okay.
So you're going to cape up for your city. Yep. Chris, they cape up for Mississippi, Alabama, even with the history that's going on in those places. But I don't want to be in Kyrie's shoes tonight, but he might go drop 50 on him.
Well, that's the way I told you. Chris, remember LeBron's return after he took his talents to South Beach? Remember the return to Cleveland? He just gave it to them. He shut them down and shut them up by just playing basketball at the highest level you can play. And I admired him for that because that's not that easy to do. His emotions were probably just running wild, and he channeled his emotion into making baskets and playing defense. And is Kyrie capable of that?
Yes.
I think he's capable tonight. But, Chris, I appreciate what you said to Boston fans. Just please leave religion and race out of it.
Yes.
But boo your guts out if you feel like it, because he deserves your boos.
Yes.
Because he was shockingly bad in Boston. You guys know, I'm a big Kyrie fan. I loved what he did with and for LeBron in Cleveland in the finals. And then he gets his wish. He wants out from under LeBron. Right. And where does he get to go? He goes to a storied, hallowed franchise, the Boston Celtics, with a bunch of young, upcoming star talent.
Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. They had a squad.
They had a squad. And he was pathetic.
He was.
And he brought the wrath of the fans on his own head, because at that fan event, that fan night that he did in March of 2018, he says, "If you'll have me, I will resign here." And then it fell all apart, and he's throwing the whole team under the bus, especially the young stars. They don't know how to win a championship. And the next thing you know, he's up in the tunnel at the All-Star game telling KD, Brooklyn's got two max contracts. We are out of here. And then he flames out in Boston. Remember, Chris, they won the first game against Giannis and company by 22. Then they lose 4 straight. And in those 4 games, Kyrie Irving shot 5 of 27 from 3. That's 18.5%. Well, you want to talk about leaving a bad taste in the mouth of the fans? And again, he did go back to Boston on Christmas Day this year, but there was no fans. Right. So now he's going to hear it all night.
And especially, think about it, it's like anything, you know, all of a sudden, they see what he's doing now. He's averaging 27 points. He's being very unselfish with the basketball. He's playing defense. Kyrie will dive on the floor.
He will.
It's kind of like, you know, you see somebody, you're like, a relationship, and all of a sudden the guy starts dressing up, and when you had him, he was all haggardly. Now he got Star Genie wearing blazers and nice sneakers. He's like, wait a minute, why you didn't do that with me? They like, Kyrie, why didn't you play like that with us? Why didn't you care like this with us? But he gonna get, I'm going Kyrie gonna go, I say he go 35 or more. Because you know why? They're gonna feed him. They're gonna feed him.
Like it's an all-star game?
Yes.
That's the thing. I think obviously KD loves him, and he's going to want to help Kyrie get off. And Harden's that type of guy, too.
Yeah, he is.
So I do think they're going to try to get Kyrie off. And I think the Boston fans, too, are going to take this into consideration. A few years ago, when Kyrie was there, they're thinking, oh, we're going to be challenging for championships in the next few years, right?
Yep.
And now they're looking like they're obviously no better than the 4th best team in the East. And it looks like it's going to be that way for a while. Because Kemba Walker, Kyrie's replacement, has the knee issues. You know, the young boys, they're good, but they're not Giannis or Embiid or the guys in Brooklyn. So that's also going to weigh into the anger of the Boston fans.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Chris. It really runs deeper than just his departure from Boston. It did not pan out as they expected. We appreciate you joining us for plenty to talk about today. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll check in next week.
No mercy.
Well, tomorrow on Fox, it's an NL East showdown on baseball night in America as the Braves battle the Mets, or the Giants face the Dodgers, or Brewers Nationals. Tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. So check local listings for the game in your area. Well, back in March, Austin Rivers was waived by the Thunder after being traded by the Knicks. And after being teamless for a while, the Nuggets offered him a chance to suit up, and it made all the difference in their Game 3 win. Rivers finished with 21 points with 5 threes and a 16-point fourth quarter. And after the game, Rivers said, quote, "I sat there for like a month and a half waiting on the phone to ring. A lot of teams liked me, but they didn't know what type of character I was and how I'd be in the locker room. Truthfully, broke my heart." I understand that. Shannon, how surprised are you that Rivers took over the game in the fourth quarter in Dame's house here?
Skip, he's very capable. He's a very streaky shooter. Remember last year we saw him in the bubble, Skip, go get 41?
He did.
He can get hot and shoot, make 5, 6 threes, but he can also go ice cold and be over. I think, Skip, I can honestly say this, and I feel this from the bottom of my heart. His famous dad has hurt his career.
Agreed.
Because I believe everybody believed that he's only in the NBA because of his dad.
Not true.
That's not true. No, he can play.
That's the perception.
He can play. And perception is reality. People think, oh, he has a bad attitude because of his dad, and he'll be able to get another job because of his dad, and he can talk, and no. And I think that's really hurt him. And what they did is that they saw Yoke, because what they did early on, Skip, they made Yoke a scorer. He was going one-on-one. And now they see he's basically finally Nurkic out every game. Cantor can't do anything. They says, okay, now we're going to come with the double team. Yoke did the right thing, and Austin Rivers made him pay, Skip. The game was tied 91-91, 6 minutes left. He had 4 threes. Basically broke the game open.
He scored 14 down the stretch after that.
So after Yoke had already done his damage and got him, well, we got to come with a double team because we can't handle him one-on-one, he started passing it to this kid. So people they've used the Rivers name, his famous dad, Doc, against him. But this kid can play, Skip. I'm not saying he's, a superstar, an all-star, but he's a solid player, can make contributions, and I'm glad he's got an opportunity to show that he can still play in this league.
I never thought I'd see the night that Austin Rivers would save the Denver Nuggets season in Dame's house by out-shooting Dame down the stretch of a do or die. It's a turning point game because now it's 2-1 Denver.
Right.
They stole the game back.
Yeah, they got the home court back, yes.
And look, I'll disqualify myself. I love Doc, and by association, I love his son. And I know Austin a little bit, but he's a good kid.
Yes.
And a tough kid. He's undergone a lot of ridicule and a lot of doubt in this league, and he's lived to tell about it. And his dad always told me, my son is fearless. He is not afraid to take big shots. And you want to talk about big shots?
Right.
He's the newcomer on the team, and you're in Dame's house?
Right.
And he's doing that, and go ahead.
Remember what his dad said, Skip? He wanted, the Sixers wanted to sign him, and his dad wouldn't let him sign. He says, no, go somewhere else.
Yeah. And I don't know what character issues. He clashed with Chris Paul, but help me out. Who hasn't
clashed with Chris Paul?
And there, an instance, he threw a cushion one night, and the stands got mad and hit a woman in the face by accident. I don't think that was it.
Right.
But why he would sit for, Mike Malone said it was 2.5 months by the phone waiting for somebody to call, and then he turns around and does this. And if we could just see real quick what happened last night, Dame had a big shot that would have put them up. I think if Dame makes this one shot, that shot right there, that would have put them up 3 with 6 minutes to go. And then here came Austin. And watch this. Boom and boom. This is Dame time. And all of a sudden, it's Austin Rivers time. That's 3. Then you said Yoke's doubled, and he kicks it. That wasn't an easy shot. That was fairly guarded, and that's 4. And then he ices the game at the free throw line. He makes 1,
Made
2,
all both of them.
Yep.
Made both his free throws.
There you go.
And he needs to Skip.
Austin Rivers did that.
Dame Lillard had 13 points, 2 assists in the fourth quarter. He hit 3 threes. Dame is shooting 43% from the 3. He has 19 threes in 3 games. He's 38-9 average. So they needed everything Austin Rivers gave them. I mean, and what they signed him for basically gave, I guess, a 10-day contract.
Yeah, they did. It was a 10-day. Yeah.
It ended up, and he might have saved their season.
He definitely did. We'll see how it plays out from now, but I picked Portland to win the series, and I thought they had him on the run. Melo had made 2 big threes in a row, and the house was rocking, and then he turned down the sound.
Right. I mean,
Austin Rivers. And
Nuggets had 20 threes last night, Skip.
Yeah, I know. I was so happy for him. He's a good kid.
Yep.
And now he's a 28-year-old kid.
Yeah. But I think we can all agree now that Yoke is the MVP, right? You good with that?
I told you he's the MVP. I'll give you that. I still thought Portland was going to win this series.
No mercy.
How about this? The Mavericks are taking their 2-0 series lead over the Clippers back to Dallas tonight. The Mavs followed up the 17 threes they made in Game 1 by making 18 in Game 2, led by Baby Bird, Luka Doncic, who was averaging 35 points while shooting 41.7% from 3. Shannon, what's your guy, Luka's line, and what's the score?
He's shooting 41% for 3. I thought he couldn't shoot 3.
He can against the Clippers. Yeah. That's the only team he can shoot threes.
You know what's good? I'm going to say, look, he's averaging 32, 10, and 9. I'm going to say he has 39 and 9 tonight, and they win 120.
39-9.
No, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists.
Got it.
Are you daring me? Mm-hmm. You daring me?
Yep, I just did.
I might go. He might put a 40-piece on you. You better
stop. He just might. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I got to score 120-116 Mavs.
Okay, close game?
Yeah, 120-116.
Okay, all right. I got this game not close at all. I got Dallas winning the first quarter by 10 and the game by 15, 116 to 101. And I got, quote unquote, Baby Bird, 35, 10, and 12. And I want to say, congratulations, Shannon. You finally got one right.
You know what? I hate when you do this. I know what you're trying to do.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Everybody at home, he's trying to jinx them. They're going to win the first quarter by 10, and then they're going to win the game by 15.
Watch.
I'm going to be, I'm definitely going to be watching. I'm going to be watching.
In all your glory, you'll be watching.
Yes.
Watch me burn some hats.
This is Memorial Day weekend. You mind if I come over and watch the game with you?
Yes, I do.
Ernestine doesn't want any burning going on over the weekend, Skip. I can make sure that. Shannon, let me know when you need help with those props for Monday.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, that's all for us. Herd's on now. Have a good one.
Undisputed.